Everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing more best of three, playing the kind of Boros. It's really mono red, but we do splash white for only two cards, being Boros Charm and Lightning Helix. But we are playing the challenge winning Boros aggro deck. We're just going to be running it on the best three ladder and seeing how it goes. We'll have the entire sideboard. If you're curious, we have links for the long game matchups, the rock face for those as well, because if you're going to be heavy with the Hellkites and the Lynxes, you need that extra land. Go to 23 Iros for the kind of low to the ground Badger Mole Cub decks. Magebane, obviously, for Is It spell kind of lesson slinger deck. Soul Guide Lanterns for any graveyard deck, and one extra shock, which seems a bit weird at first until you realize, oh yeah, sometimes we just want as many burn spells to answer creatures and go face as possible, and our big stuff isn't necessarily good enough at doing that. Other than that, we're just pedal to the metal most of the time and trying to get the win as quickly as possible. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into the games. Oh, wow. Continuing to play first trend. Very nice. And a very nice hand to start with, it seems. Pretty aggressive. So, probably what? Hired Claw? Or do you want to get the Taunter moving? Honestly, it's probably get the Taunter moving. Threaten the potential, Engine Strike. The Menace is typically going to be fine. Analyze Pollen would typically tell me this is Reanimator. A little part of me wants to play the higher claw, but against Reanimator, oftentimes we have time playing something like... it's probably just do most damage, slide in a Slick Shot next turn, and then maybe just commit all the way to the ground. Going to be Reanimator. We don't really have time to wait around. We wish we had a little more spells for our prowess stuff. It might be worth having Slick Shot come in, like plot-wise. Yeah, especially with that in the way. Be a little bit of a problem. A 2/3 is really good here. For them, of course. Only cares if a lizard attacks, Surveil 2. Land goes. Slick Shot there. We at minimum want to get the Hired Claw down. It's not going to trigger anyway, so let's attack here. Course, and then we just send this upstairs. Prowess will clear that out of the way. Then I think on 3 here, I'm just gonna play a Slick Shot. Could have plotted it looking for like the 3 mana enchantment, kind of be dodged. A little part of me thinks maybe we should have played Higher Claw, but I wanted to be a bit more mana efficient. Didn't like not being mana efficient there. Now it feels pretty obvious that they're going to want to remove this Hellkite. They don't necessarily have an answer. They could Bitter Triumph, putting a Bringer into the graveyard. Would just be bad. They don't have a way to ping them first. Let's go to combat here. See what they do. That's why I wanted to play Higher Claw, because then this would have Double Strike, and that would be a lot more threatening. Kind of where we're stuck, but down to a little. Obviously, if they have Bitter Triumph, put it in the graveyard, and then reanimate it, then they have it, right? So, kind of where we're at. Them choosing here is interesting to me. Oh, it's a Harvester. Okay. Well, that can clear our board. They just decide to bring it back. Yeah. Full bore can get us through here. That does it. Not enough for them, but, pretty close. Something like that is nice for us. Obviously, the lanterns come in. The rock face probably doesn't matter. The shock, I don't know if necessarily matters. Maybe it does. Maybe just being like slightly more aggressive. They're really creature heavy. Sunspine and Lynx is for slower matchups, and we pretty much just want to be as fast as possible. So it's probably just actually cut the shocks, right? Or 3-2 until turn. Still weird because it's just so much more damage, especially knowing that we're not going to be answered early. Maybe trimming a charm because it's the mana restriction, and that is sacrifice, so indestructible doesn't work. Then I'm gonna, because I'll trim a shock. It's just weird on those cards because you kind of want to have the damage that if they reanimate, if there's not like an Ardent in the graveyard or anything to give everything haste, and they have kind of a brick wall. Sometimes just putting a couple of burn spells on the stack is good enough, right? But we want to have the full bore and things like that, so that 2 extra toughness so we can slide in on a creature, along with the fact that if we have a Soul Guide Lantern, which we do, we get everything that we want. Obviously not shocking that in would be a little weird, but obviously could be for anything else. And we lose our creature. Do we get another? We kind of do. Just playing the burn game now. I'm not going to put this Soul Guide Lantern out just yet. Sure. Go ahead and slow their plan down by just helixing that. And there's a couple of things they could do. That thing that they do is reanimate this, then GG's, bro. Like, I don't know. Maybe they do it for value. I say I doubt it. There is a Brood Spinner. If we get to 5, we can play this. We'll do 1 to it, and it'll block temporarily. But then, you know, obviously we get like a Burst Lightning. Something like a Spell Pierce could come in now. So I feel like maybe establishing the Soul Guide Lantern and just going full burn now would be best. Especially considering I play around a Spell Pierce. Get rid of Brood Spinner, of course. Just tell them that they have to play the game the way we want. Unfortunately, they can't put it on a stack and make a copy of Hired Claw. That, I guess, also does it, but... Reach control gain, indestructible. Interesting. One way to do it. Took a resource away from them. Now when they mill, it's way less likely. Attacking is okay from them. I think maybe if they don't have anything, they're now realizing that they're going to have to figure out how to win the game without this. Predation Tactics is a empty card against this right now because we don't have creatures, unfortunately. Which is scary as all scary will be. Does it enter as a 4/4? I assume they're going to copy this, of course, right? Then they still get to copy our creatures, so it's bad regardless. We just let it go. As much as we don't like it, we just kind of have to, right? Do. Here. Big hit upstairs. Then I assume I'm probably just Burst Lightning here as well. Well, we'll wait till actually end step. I kind of thought we already were, but I guess I messed that up. There's a bringer. Down to 10. We hit the land. So it definitely feels like get our Hellkite in and do the value, right? On there, I guess. We only need a mana to draw a card off the Soul Guide Lantern. We don't need it to pop it to exile graveyards. Now they have to have an answer to this. Not, we can helix this, then hit them for 4, which would just be good. It also puts a lot of our burn spells within range. So we don't really care about this guy right now. Just a particular spot that's a little bit weird. That's all. If I even bother helixing this, necessarily get me a ton closer to lethal. It does put me within 2. I mean, it depends what we draw as well, right? Draw a land, so obviously not the greatest thing in the world. Do I just let this happen? Hold the helix? Maybe. Seems like a whack play. Well, actually, what's his ability? Create a X number 1 black, white, green insect token creature with flying. I mean, we'll see. Go to combat. So helixing that actually would be bad. Alright. Or that can happen. The alternative route that we can take. One of the reasons maybe we don't ever commit there. But I thought that was poppable there. No? So it just tapped 2, obviously, for Bitter Triumph, right? So 2, 4, 6. 6. Create a number 1 insect creature equal number of card types. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 1/1 insects with flying. Feels like a block here and a pop of this make flyers. Would have been a better choice, but we'll take it. Okay. A bit land heavy, so I feel like with our opponent mulliganing, is it worth mulling? It's probably worth mulling. Okay. Never mind. I felt like we just didn't have enough action, and with them mulling, I felt okay, but I suppose we'll have to mull again, unfortunately. Now we keep here. Can probably, we don't know what we're against, so it feels weird to hold the shock land when we don't really need a ton of white. And then what? Let's just get rid of full bore, but full bore is really good with Emberheart. Maybe it's Boros Charm. This is also just good with like a slick shot, right? Okay. Now a good creature at picking that off. Okay, so it's just pure aggro here, it seems. Tramplo, if you would. Heart Challenger might have to block here, and then Hellkite can answer this as long as no other creature comes in. I do think we would have been a little too slow with just the higher claws as well, so I don't think it really changed much. Alright, so how do we answer that? Maybe full bore, I suppose. They missed a land. They're also on a maul, if we remember, so... it's +2. That's at 4. So realistically, it's never getting there. Swing here. We have a secret Hellkite to come in and pop this recruiter, but we do need them to not play another creature. Here to 3. The rock on targeting their stuff, so I cannot target their stuff as freely as I might like. Yeah, so here goes to 5, but it's just not big enough. We obviously feel like we have to answer that. Definitely on the losing side of this interaction, I'll tell you that much. They draw a card and they get to put a counter. They can go to a ton on that guy next turn. We have Boros. If we draw a full bore and this lives, we have a chance to win. Full bore would be 3, so that'd be 5, 6. Cast this goes to 7, 8 with double strike. So we have a chance. I guess that wasn't upgraded right, so... Actually, with double strike, we don't even really need... Well, we definitely didn't need a land, that's for sure. So we're cooked regardless because this has trample and we drew another land, right? So I mean, we only ended up with 4 cards out of that. Unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We'll move on to this next game. And then this is where something like Iros will be good, actually. Just big creature decks. So other than that, maybe we bring in the Shock just to be able to snipe more things more regularly. I think we had a pretty good chance to win that game. It just came to this weird... I don't know. It was just a weird one. I mean, we mauled to 5. It's on the draw against an aggro deck. It's okay. Slick Shot feels a little weird in this match. Boros Charms, although we had a chance to one-shot them with Slick Shot there. I think we have to be... If I can grab the card, Jesus. We have to be a bit more interactive, and I'm going to go down to Hellkite, I guess. I want my burn. I want my big hitter on the card like Menace, and then Higher Claw is just good aggro early. Slick Shots just feel kind of the worst. Maybe this to this. I feel a bit better about that. Maybe I should go down on Hellkites, but I feel okay with this. 4 on the bigger creatures, 1 on all the smaller creatures, and we just run it like that. And just make sure that any kind of low to the ground nonsense play, we're able to kind of snipe out of the road on a red. Pretty good at being on the play here. And this is definitely a hand that we'll be looking at for sure. Only 1 creature. They could have Fight Spell at some point, but obviously turn 1 that doesn't really do it. We only saw Forest, so we're not playing for any other color. Unless I missed something, but I don't think so. Easy card to pick off. A great draw, so I don't necessarily have to puncture myself here. We snipe this now, and we save this for like a bigger turn later. We have a Brash Taunter with that double strike online. Be much better. Holding up Burst Lightning to pick off maybe another thing here. And we're Elves, maybe not worth it. Be a Snakeskin Veil. We could test the water now, I guess. Why not? Protected, then things later just won't be. Sure. Fantastic draw. Either way. Now we're being very aggressive on removing their stuff. Maybe that's a bit too aggressive, but feels right now anyway. You can see they're low to the ground as well. This is the type of creature I just don't care about. Doesn't give them extra mana. Doesn't do much else in regards to that. Now it feels like I shock them. Double strike. Maybe I hold up this Helix for a turn. This will do what? 3. So it'll go to 4, and it'll do 8. This is a ton of their life. Let's just go one at a time here. This might be just bad on the fact that they could make something fight, but if they do, maybe we are able to Helix this in response. Then we can kind of go the full bore route. Huh. Just clear everything. Sweet. So, land here to pay. Hit them for 10. Then we have enough 100% next turn, unless they play 2 creatures, but then it still just has double strike. And it can go up to 3. That's all right. Yeah, I get it. I get it for sure. Definitely probably sitting on like a Sirach or something like that. Oh boy. Maybe we were a bit aggressive on our creature removal, but it felt okay. When they missed the land, it felt like the land where Elf was important to get, because they also missed the land the game before. So it feels like they're also pretty low on them. I mean, removal, and especially the removal we want in a match like this. Any 1-drops we'll let go. We're going to prioritize probably the 2-drops. Yeah, something like that seems... I mean, again, if it gets saved, we just IRO it next turn. Oh, maybe we don't. We have to pay the ward. Interesting. We switch tactics here. We slick shot and then attack them, and then it leads to full board double striking, which again we know is a crazy amount. Yeah, maybe we're fast enough. Have 3 mana. I say maybe we're fast enough, but I don't know for sure. Okay. First creature removal we've seen. Well, and if it didn't have ward, we would have found ourselves in a different spot. It just does. And there's Ouroboros. Well, we lost. It is what it is. All right, opponent's finally here. They like to keep. We have no creatures. I feel like it's kind of got to be a maul, even though our mana is really good. You don't know. If we're not threatening anything early, these become worse because your opponent just gets to hold interaction for them. At least this one has creatures, and we just throw back a land, I guess. Well, could pop both of these, I guess. Attack, see if they block. Out that. Move that out of the way. Could remove this on their upkeep, so it would come back tapped, but I'd much rather answer a second Badger Mole Cub. Point is just full scale, right? Missed a land. They have third Badger Mole Cub, then congratulations, dude. I just don't know. Especially if it's like land into it. We'll see. Mana, what do you got? Quantum Riddler makes sense. They could counter the sack by picking up a land. Might be what they do. Sack, well, they're definitely not doing that anymore. Full bore. Okay. Fire it off by targeting here. Do it now in case we find a thing with prowess. It's a helix. They just concede we didn't have it, but sure, we'll take it. Hey, we're going to be playing a lot of Badger Mole Cubs, going a little bit bigger than us. Something like this feels, I don't know, it feels too slow. Forest Charms against this match feel useless almost. What's in this deck? Badger Mole Cubs, Quantum Riddlers, the Land War Elves, Iros comes in for sure. Forest Charm just seems bad. Hellkite can just be our kind of over-the-top win condition. A little part of me feels like I want to play this, but I do know they play quite a bit of basics, a lot of forests, and a couple of islands, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's just one of those things where I know like the best of one list so much that kind of play weird janky stuff sometimes in those. But here I don't quite know. I feel like this is fine. Maybe I'm supposed to bring in this shock and just cut the charms. Charms is kind of the slower end card, but double strike is good. Maybe slick shot. No, slick shot's pretty good. Unanswered over the top, slick shot's pretty good. Maybe it's just those. I could be wrong again, but you don't know until you're playing the games and you actually do the sideboarding, right? So opponent was on the play. We won the game 1. Now we're off into game 2, where obviously they will be on the play again. 2 Badger Mole Cubs played, 2 lands had, hit the third. Riddler wasn't able to really find much. And this is a hand of all time, that's for sure. We got creatures, and we have good kind of win potential here. Land War Elves feels like I'm supposed to pick it off, but am I? Kind of the bolt to bird scenario, but it almost feels like it's supposed to be bolt to badger. I bolt, move the mana accelerant. Sometimes that deck has hard mana. Another Land War Elf. That's okay. Great. Seems good here. I could just play the higher claw so they couldn't just attack me for free. Flick shot's kind of whatever, so I'm going to play it. Could plot it, but I feel like it's fine to get it down. Looking for Hellkite to snipe this. Full Boar online after. There's a Cub, fortunately. Now they have 4 mana, or a Boroid could be a thing here. Then we just have to basically fly over the top and win. Oh yeah, I forgot about that card. I know that card's played. I don't know why I didn't think about that card. But I definitely 100% knew that card's played. But once again, why I didn't play around it, I'll never know. So now, what did we say the range was for this? The range is, this goes to 6, 7, double strike, 14, right? Because plus 3, so 4. No, it's 8 for 16, so we have to be able to deal 1 damage to them. So we go plot, a higher claw. We need higher claw to attack, hitting them for 1. I assume my opponent's going to commit a lot of stuff here rather than much else. A Quantum Riddler would be bad. Yeah, I feel like we're just going to see an all-out attack here. I don't know what else. Maybe another fight spell here. No. I believe this is lethal. That shocking of that end doesn't change anything. We're either dead or it's lethal, I guess. So there's no reason to even consider anything. Target creature gains double strike until on a turn. This one. And we go here. 8 for 16. And that last one does the pinging game. And we actually get there. Wild to figure out the math. 1+, but they let this hit them. They didn't bother blocking. So, yeah, I missed the button. Not for the fact of not hitting record. I just full on airballed. But yeah, we're definitely going to keep this. Lead off, higher claw. Have a Helix. Maybe remove something out of the way. Maybe we just attack. Never know. Combat. Sure. Plot. We all know what Slick Shot can do when it's plotted. Always a scary sight. Looks like the mirror. Our opponent thinking the same. A little part of me wants to just Hellkite them and then call it, if it's truly the mirror. My only fear is that it could be the Fling deck, which would be obviously a bit horrifying. Then means the Helix is just good. Do I really want to pivot into the control deck? Probably not. Let's just play the Slick Shot back here, and then we'll try to use this as maybe a closing piece at the end. Okay, so that tells me it's not the Fling deck. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Huh? We're gonna wait because if it's a full bore, it blows our back out. We gain the 3 life regardless here. I guess what it is. So thankfully we didn't do that. Or protect their creature here. That's okay. Find another answer to it anyway. Now we just say go. And then honestly, if we rip a land, which would be kind of huge, we just get to play this, answer that, and hit them. Sure. Pump. Fine. Then 4 damage upstairs. Yeah, I mean, at that point, why not? Now, if they use another full bore or something, or if it's a burst lightning, yeah, that just takes that away from them, right? Obviously, it's a lot of damage that they can do. I mean, I guess 6, we're at 4. So from at 21, they still need 4 turns. Being 1, we need 3. Oh, now they need a little. Well, actually, do they? 4. That ended up being the same amount if they just double pumped here, right? So, and it has menace. So if they hit a land, they go to 4. It does 8. If they hit, I mean, I'm not counting on them hitting another full bore. So it's Emberheart Challenger for us and an all-out attack. I mean, this puts us 1 turn away, right? 1 turn away plus any burn spell. That's kind of a GG. Obviously, they can hold you 6 here, but I mean, if I hit another land and lose, then I hit another land and lose, I guess. Oh, I don't hit another land and lose. We're holding that to pump. So let's play here. And let us go to combat. Swing here. Tragic way to lose the game if it ends up being a loss. Feels like a loss. Third full bore. Or yep, like a good game on game 1. Yep, definitely a weird one. That's how good that card can be. Is Iroh good enough? I mean, I don't know why I'm looking at their deck. Look at my deck, Smile. So we got the Taunters at 1. This is 2. This is 2. This is 2. Obviously 4. So bringing in Iroh feels a bit weird, but it's kind of your only way to get rid of a Hellkite, I guess. So whatever. Honestly, is it more this route where we just put like a big bodied creature in play that's really annoying that can also ping them a bit? Feels okay in that regard. I know this is more for is it spells, but is it not okay here? Almost feels better than 2 shocks or maybe 2 charms. I'm not sure. A bit weird. I kind of like to play it here, but maybe this is wrong. Could be wrong. Have removal for their 1-drops, pretty high. Doesn't really remove. More removal. Kind of more removal. That really only removes this guy. Iroh. Is Iroh just better than this? Because Iroh does remove literally everything else, and a full bore is what exactly? +2, so like a slick shot still gets removed by Iroh. Maybe it's that actually. Where I'm settling. That boarding's always weird for me. I never actually know. I keep cutting Boros Charm, but maybe it's supposed to be more like this. Like split that cut. Boros Charm is 4 damage and is double strike on a slick shot that gets through, right? So it's always that kind of weird card to just pull in and out of your deck. Sometimes it's useless, sometimes it's goated. A hand like this with only white lands we can't keep. Now our threats are a bit low, but we just throw a full bore back. No? The threat, answer the threat. They plot here. Buys a little bit of time, yeah. Is it play, and then Helix after, maybe? Try to take back the play here a bit by putting creatures down as an advantage. We're at 16. We did discuss that Boros Charm full bore on a slick shot is lethal at this point, so we do have to be concerned about that. I just felt like maybe keeping my stuff down is just good. Hellkite gonna answer this, of course. Fine. It's not like fine, but I feel like maybe we're in worse spots here. I do have kind of a passage to lightning helix this guy. Seems, and now we can play a mountain. Go ahead, pop this guy. Not really a target-based deck, as we know, because we're literally playing the mirror. Probably, honestly, we're probably just playing the same list, as we're probably playing the one that won the challenge. Kind of what better results do you need than that, right? So they missed a land. They have a hired claw. If I shock this in, they can pump. So don't want to do that. Also, I guess I don't need to shock it in. I don't know why I thought higher claw was 3 mana. Changing our bets here. Pick up there. We save this for our next land in case we get to Hellkite, obviously. Hellkite us again. Going 4. Maybe have a burst lightning. Hope not, obviously. Oh, okay. Sweet. Deals 4 damage. I think I'm upgrading Hired Claw anyway. But now we go combat here. It's upgrade the claw. If they do something like shock in a land to play the Hellkite, we can upgrade again. Hellkite's obviously going to attack or at a lower life total, so I feel like it's going to attack, I guess. Okay. Ah, it comes in scot-free, okay. Where maybe a Boros Charm would be good enough. Not really, I guess. Well, no, it could be. No, the land's obviously not going to get it done here. They have too much, right? Yeah. So, because we could go to combat, right? Then upgrade Boros Charm. This would go to 8, and then be just short, right? All right, cool. Yep. That is it for that one. But we have one more game. And obviously Hellkite was pretty crazy there. But that's okay. I think we're just going to resubmit back. Obviously Hellkite's good. It's just, are you consistently going to hit the land every time against the other aggro deck? And if you're missing a land stuck with Hellkites in play, like, obviously sucks really bad. But here we go. Now we are on the play for a higher claw into a plot into protection plus full bore. Again, we know the range, right? We know it's 16. We know it's a lot. And we're not gonna make this guy vulnerable. If they block, we will just we will just level this up, obviously. Why would we not? So if they block, it's kind of crazy. I almost kind of want to do it anyway. But I think plotting Slick Shot here is way more important. Because if our opponent shocks in a land, fortunately they did not, they could explode. Didn't. The shock here is great. I think I hold up the same interaction here, right? So I think this is the turn where I just go ahead and I shock this out of the way. Then I attack, and then I just level up my hired claw. Will be a little bit more than enough. They're at 15. Also, kind of showing some weakness. Now they shock, which is unfortunate. Helix puts them back at 16, which puts us back at lethal. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, so we can do it regardless, right? So we can do Slick Shot, Full Bore, Boros Charm, Double Strike for the win. I feel like once we full bore the Slick Shot, they're going to attempt to burst lightning it, and then we just get them. And if they let this go, obviously we double strike it, and then we get there regardless, right? So 4 toughness. At 16. Yeah, I think they might have had it, but they didn't want to interact because they thought, you know, maybe I take a big hit here and then I strike back for lethal. But unfortunately for them, this is one of the things that I saw a video like a long time ago where somebody was explaining how to play red, and I don't remember everything from it because I kind of just had it up as a background thing, but it's just doing a little weird math like this and just knowing that x plus x equals a certain number, right? So us knowing that this and this on one of these is 16, and if it's answered like unanswered, it's great. We had them dead last turn. If this mountain was a shock land and they went to 16 and tapped out like they did, we just slick shot, full bore, do that, win, right? So we had it all covered, but you know, we know the math. Whereas like sometimes in situations like this, if the roles were reversed, my opponent did a slick shot like that, well, maybe I have to try to burst lightning it, because if they don't have the Boros charm, then, you know, we're good. So it's a bit weird, but good to know nevertheless. All right, here we are with the whole list ready to go. So it worked out pretty well. Obviously, earned a little bit of ladder points, I think, overall, just playing kind of an aggro deck. It is, like, I hate to say it, it's pretty fun because it does feel a lot trickier now than it has in the past. I do still have that weird feeling of when I used to have to play against the Kamano aggro deck, and the win rate of turn 1 Kamano onto play was like 70% or something absurd, because it was just such a good one drop that came in, it pinged, and then it flipped, and then like just doing everything you wanted it to do, and also exiling and things like that, just being a constant pressure. But here, this deck feels like you do kind of have to work for it a bit more, knowing random number counts and kind of how you can get there, playing around the Bash Taunter and maybe getting it in as well. But Best of 3 has been fun overall. I don't really have a lot more to say about aggro other than maybe like seeing a card like Shock in the side is a bit weird, but I get it. You know, you don't really want to overload that in the main. Like, why play 61? The list is kind of tight already. You're obviously going to play all the creatures, but knowing which ones to cut maybe in certain matchups. Where I trimmed the Hellkite against the Mirror, it is good to like close out a game potentially, but again, if we get stuck on 3 lands, we're playing 22, which 3 to 4 lands is kind of likely to be where we're at, hitting that 5th land, and then oftentimes maybe even it having to be shocked in, or sometimes being an inspiring advantage still slows us down. Having too many Hellkites there would just be devastating. So I did trim there, and then Boros Charm not being able to target anything in terms of creatures, but obviously giving double strike is great. So it's just a weird thing, and learning how to sideboard takes a lot more practice than just playing like best of 1 games, where you kind of curate your deck for the meta and then you just run it that way, and you don't have to be like, okay, well, my opponent's bringing in probably at most 6 cards to interact with me, but cutting the bad cards in the matchup, so there's a higher like 12 card swing for the most part, and you now have to like well, are we countering picking them? Or are we needing to hit a little bit higher, a little bit lower, things like that? So it's a bit weird. I know for a lot of people who play best of 3, some of this knowledge is going to be like, well, duh, that's obvious. But if a lot of people play best of 1 and then maybe have considered playing best of 3, because we know Arena's kind of crafting system is a bit weird. If you want to play a lot of decks, it's just a bit awkward, because obviously once you craft everything, it's a bit expensive to keep doing that. As you can see, you know, we have a rare here, rares. This isn't actually a rare, so give me a second here. But rares, and then more. So I mean, for mono red, it's probably as expensive. I know it's not mono red, but let's be honest, this is mono red. You look at our sideboard, dude. This is a mono red deck. But for the most part, it's a lot of rares than what mono red is typically used to doing. Mono red is typically always the budget deck, and when you have this many rares in the list along with the lands needed, then you kind of come to the side and there's 4 lynxes which are required for your late game matchups. It gets expensive, you know, to try to keep up with this deck and then play another deck and then go on to another one, and it's just a lot to do. So with that, either way, I hope you all enjoyed. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.